Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighbourhood-friendly Kiwi Tash from Middle-West New Zealand.
Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, still writing her birthday era.
Settle down onto your favourite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking of romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and call a lifeguard because Sophie's going too deep diving into the connections of our favourite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media.
And therefore,
we will contain spoilers. I was thinking too much about Sophie and Benedict deep diving into each other.
Completely glitched. Dear listeners, we left off after sinking our teeth into the delectable sides of season 4, and we're still not done there technically. Today, we are wading into deeper waters and are discussing Benedict and Sophie, our beloved Benophie. Is Benedict a true gentleman? Is Sophie a realist or a masochist? Why did we not get Sophie defending Benedict's artistic talent? I just realized that today, by the way, and that's why that's in this intro. And what are our first thoughts of that ending? Come along for a magic carpet ride through the fantastical world of Bridgerton season 4.
Super ironic that there is actually a song called Deep Waters that would have played super well into the season. Spirit led me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my savior. Which is so, like, I mean, I'm sure this is
There's a lot of great water songs, like Bridge Over Troubled Waters. That would have been good.
Yeah.
For this season.
Missed
opportunities.
I was like, experiences, not the word I'm looking for. There are plenty of experiences that were not missed in this season. Okay, so let's, I'm like, where do we even dive? Pod snacks.
This is our second recording today. So for a refresher, my pod snacks were taco soup and pecan praline, ice cream from Handle, pineapple, and mandarin oranges.
I'm gonna have myself a Lindt chocolate.
Ooh, that's the good ones. That's the milk on milk.
I have been trying desperately to find the pistachio ones, the new pistachio ones. And I've ordered them so many times from my supermarket on Click and Collect, and then they're like, sorry, we're out of stock. Here's these ones. And I'm like, did I ask for those or did I ask for pistachio? Like, at least paint them green for me. Pretend.
I've been trying to order Nutty Buddies for Smaug's birthday bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to, like, they keep calling me when they can't find them. For some reason, they're, like, out of stock. And I've tried a couple.
They're hiding them.
And I haven't gone into the stores. I was in DoorDash, to be fair. But they called, like, what do you want instead? Like, another type of Little Debbie snack cake. I'm like, nope, sorry. It's got to be that one. Just refund it.
Okay, Bridgerton
news.
Can I? So we had not Bridgerton news, but news adjacent. It was an interview this week with Nicola Coughlin for Elle magazine. No, who was it?
Which interview? I have one, but I couldn't.
She's on the cover.
I got the information from a subreddit thing, so I didn't have the magazine. If it's the same article,
stylist,
where she again has to talk about weight and how she's not interested in
Elle.
It might be Elle.
I think it was Elle.
She did an interview for Elle last time.
So, she was on the cover this week, and it quite ironic that she has basically come out with a statement saying that she hates when her entire performance, and she made a really good point, the fact that when you are filming for Bridgerton, when you are the season lead, you are away from your family for months at a time. Every single waking moment of your life is living, breathing, and sleeping Bridgerton, and they put in this humongous effort only for people to see her size. And I do very much acknowledge, and I'm sure that we have been guilty of this in the past, where we said we were really surprised that they did not acknowledge her size. But like we said with Hazel, if Hazel said, hey, I'm trying to find the word that is not ableist, that is in a way that she would, because her arm is not formed.
Back then they would have said defect.
Yeah, but I don't want to word things in a way that makes her seem lesser than or anything. So, but because
I'm saying, like, in the time of Bridgerton, they would have said birth defect.
Yes.
So I'm not saying now. There is a term for it, but
Yeah, so Hazel
I can't think of what it is off the top of
Hazel
my
has
head.
said that she loves that they don't make it out like a disability, that it's just a small portion of who she is as a person, and it does not define her as a person. And Nicola's kind of saying the same thing, that she does not wish to be a body movement. She does not wish to be the face of plus size, because she's like, I don't consider myself plus size, or I didn't consider myself plus size, at least in that season that she filmed.
She wasn't. She
Um,
was a size 10.
Yes, which we don't get to determine. Like, even as fans, we can absolutely love seeing her on the screen, partially for those reasons. And I think Patty and I have talked about so extensively how beautiful it was to see someone and how much we resonated. But I think when you get belittled down to that is
But
all that you are, I think that's where she holds
yes,
the issue.
I think that's the issue, is this is all you are. And that's
Whereas
never where we came from, I don't
no,
think. And I don't like using the word never. Somebody's going to call me out and be like, remember when you said this?
yeah,
But as far as I can recall, where we said it was in Bridgerton's best interest to have brought it up somewhere.
mm-mm,
We can't have a comment from season 1, she's 2 stone heavier than she needs to be, and have it never get mentioned again in season 3 when she's supposedly on the shelf, right?
yeah.
So, and she's the same size as she was in season 1. She's not changed her body at all, whereas in the books she had lost some weight. So
In this
they
in
needed to.
well Nicola specifically said that she was working out like crazy and had lost a lot of weight for the season, and our biggest thing has always been that Nicola and Luke are, above all else, amazing actors, because they weren't necessarily given always the best scripts to work with the season to showcase the love. But Nicola and Luke, they did the most phenomenal job in showing us exactly the connection that you do so much with your acting when you don't have the words, and they portrayed that beautifully.
Mhm.
And even Nicola, I love that in season 4. I know that we're not talking season 4, but I just want to point out the difference when she's standing in front of the Queen, of when she's trying to read the Lady Whistledown article as Penelope Bridgerton,
Mhm.
versus when she flips into Lady Bridgerton, no, into Lady
Lady
Whistledown
Whistledown.
mode, that she is like holding herself differently, speaking differently,
Mhm.
commanding the room as Lady Whistledown. And that is a phenomenal
And
acting
looking
choice.
more comfortable because she smirks like, I got this.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a phenomenal acting like choice
But
that
like
she
at the full
made.
moon ball, all I'm saying, I didn't want the whole season to be about her weight, because to me, weight shouldn't matter. Emma
Yeah.
Kenworthy, beautiful woman at her size. Sophie Beck, beautiful woman at her size. We are given a body that we live in, and
But see, that's
all
the thing,
bodies, shapes,
is
and sizes
how
are
many
beautiful.
women have been told you would be so pretty if you were smaller, or you
Me,
have such a pretty
yeah,
face.
you have such
But
a pretty face. If you would just lose some weight,
or where they
you'd
say
be
specifically you have a pretty
beautiful.
face, but then don't say anything else,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, oh well, the rest of you isn't great, but like the face is pretty, right? And I
And I've
think
gotten
that's
that. You pretty face, pretty smile. You have such a smile. If you was a little,
yeah. And as I discussed in
but
the
all I'm saying,
last,
like at the full moon ball, if Lady Kesig had explained, when if we could have had, and this is my beef with between season 4 and season 3. What could season 3 have been if we were given 10 more minutes per episode? Because
yeah,
we could have had less than 10 seconds. Lady Kesig could have said, beyond hope for success. Penn is standing there frozen, walks off, and Colin goes, what do you mean by that? And like they say, well, obviously her size. And he's like,
what size?
but that he just glares and walks off. And then we know, like, her size doesn't matter to him, and it doesn't matter to Debling. There's another man who finds her attractive. Like,
Well,
we
and
just needed
not
something
just that, but
small.
all the lords that went straight up to Penelope, and it wasn't her appearance that put them off. It was the fact that she ate 3,000 words and spat them all back out of them.
Right. Like, she's so awkward. Like, I love that they made it about her awkwardness, but
Yeah.
we spent season 1 hearing about her weight. For it to not be mentioned at all made it weird. And now it gives the media the right to
Well,
answer that question for the fans. And it doesn't, though. She shouldn't be the only person from Bridgerton having to sit down and talk about exercise and talk about her weight. I mean, the men get pretty dragged through like, Lord Anderson is having to discuss his tushy a lot in interviews.
mhm.
And his moisturizing regimen. I mean, come on. So, it's cheeky when one person does it, but like multiple people have done it at this point, multiple
Well,
interviewers. It's like,
the point that I was trying to make with this was that the irony being that Nicola is saying that she hates the fact that she put her entire life and soul into the season and all of the other seasons obviously as well, but very specifically the season, just to be belittled down
mhm.
to what size
It's
she
very
looks like.
different when it's your own season, though. It's
She
like your whole life.
she did an entire interview about this, and what is reading on every single headline, on every news article now? Nicola Coughlin with her specific quote saying, this isn't the quote word for word, this is just the vibe of a drunk girl going up to her and praising her body in a club or somewhere, but a drunk girl going up to her and saying, and Nicola saying, I hate this so much, like in her head, obviously, but like being belittled down to her body. But now every single article across the country, across the world, has
Yeah,
now
we're in
belittled her
season 4
down.
now. Why?
But the
Why are
whole
they
entire,
talking to her about her body?
but every single news article now has literally taken an entire interview and have just picked up on that one part and have plastered that across the internet, proving her point that all we ever focus on is her body rather than her acting ability. Like how many different, and she has even said in multiple interviews that, you know, she does a project and she moves on from it and she loves it for what it was, but she doesn't go back. So a lot of people are panicking that obviously that she may not be in future seasons, but that is completely up to her. And I mean, we
Well,
love Penelope.
and it may be the same article, it may not, because Kay posted it in our chat.
Mm-mm.
And I went and looked at the article, and the headline is very misleading because what Nicola said about not going back and doing it again is
Being the season lead.
leading,
Yeah.
being the season lead,
Yeah.
not projects in general. She's like, I did the lead. I'm done. That was nuts.
Yes.
She doesn't want to do that again.
So
And Luke Newton has kind of said the same thing. But when she says it, they headline it and they spin it
yes.
to get everybody talking, but it's sensationalizing it to
They have
sell
they
papers,
have
to sell views.
they have sensationalized this, but I just want to say, Nicola, we absolutely adore your acting, from playing in Dairy Girls to playing a bipolar writer to playing Penelope Bridgerton, a not bipolar writer,
And
but
being
potentially
Joy
the
on
daughter of a
Doctor Who, I've
to
not
playing
saying
a fairy, to playing in
I
plays. Like
yes.
the scope that you have is absolutely phenomenal, and we adore watching every ounce of your acting abilities coming out, because you really do. I mean, the only thing I think we haven't seen her in is like a horror thriller kind of vibe. But that's not my vibe. I will watch it if you're in it, but I won't enjoy it. I will
I
enjoy
don't know.
your
Well, and
performance
I will say,
only.
I mean, I've never watched an episode of Doctor Who. I know about Doctor Who. I know it's a huge fandom. It's just not something I'd gotten into yet because there's
I was
way
gonna
too
say
many seasons to binge at
it's
this point. It's
absolutely your
overwhelming.
vibe.
I watched the episode she was in. Like there's years and years and years and seasons and seasons and seasons of
Hmm.
this show that I have not watched that, I probably would like, but haven't gotten into it. I watched her episode and I loved it. Loved her episode. It was great.
Hmm.
So maybe I'd watch a horror movie in. I can't say that though.
Speaking of interviews, as part of our news this week, is Julia Quinn came out with an interview where she was discussing a whole manner of things, but people have now kind of taken her reluctance to acknowledge an interviewer's question who was definitely trying to pry. And now the interviewer has come out with basically the headline stating, that Francesca is season 5, when they kind of made
Yes,
a point
because
of,
Julia didn't say no.
yes. So
She's
they were
not.
being very cheeky about the fact that they've now made the headlines, you know, such and such is season 5. And it was,
Yeah, because a lot of the questions were geared. Well, since Francesca's season 5 and Julia Quinn just dodged that part because she didn't say no, she's not. They went ahead and said she is because they didn't get a clear no, so that must mean yes. And there's
yes.
nowhere in the world where not saying no doesn't mean yes. If somebody's avoiding you, that's also a no.
But the interviewer
Or
is
it's an I'm not going
also
to talk about it.
the interviewer also made a very interesting choice by writing, it is not only the book running the season, which also draws from Quinn's 6th book in the series, When He Was Wicked, for the tales of Francesca, John, and Michael Sterling, a simmering tale of guilt, lust, longing that will take the lead in season 5. But they specifically say the season 5 leads, Francesca, John, and Michael Sterling. But I do actually wonder whether we're going to get sort of a P.S. I love you vibes, where I think
Mm-hmm.
they're going to kind of do it in which is ironic because they're both Scottish based, where we will get flashbacks to her time with John. So I think that we could potentially still get John in Francesca's season. It will just be as him as flashbacks and their time together and different things that
Yeah.
she's mourning and that the guilt of moving on with Michaela.
Well, because I think too that some of the clues I've gotten, like he saw her straight away and he knows her so well, like he knows about her quirks and everything. And then that look he gave the two when he went off to go take a nap, he looked back at Michaela and her going to start another puzzle, right? They
Mm-hmm.
finished the one and those two put the last piece in and then they were going to start a new one. And I almost got the vibe like
She's the missing
He knew that Francesca would love him, but would also love Michaela in that way. And like he chose her for that reason. Not like, I mean, obviously he loves her, but you know what I mean? Kind of like I know I'm going to be leaving behind and these two will love each other.
Hmm.
Maybe he didn't think romantically, but he knew they would love each other.
Regardless, if anyone sees this, the sensationalized headline of, Francesca is season 5, just know that it was absolutely taken out of context. Basically, what it was them saying Francesca is the lead of season 5, and Julia Quinn just didn't correct them
Didn't answer.
because
Yeah.
she says all the time, I just will not acknowledge the question because I'm not going to say one way or another. So do not take that as headcanon that Francesca is season 5, because they also said that season 5 is going to be one of the more romantic seasons. And what is more romantic than writing, like falling in love with someone over letters?
Well, and Jess Brownell, as we're talking interviews, Jess Brownell had an interview where she said that Francesca still has more there's more to her story that needs to play out. She's grieving and grieving is not linear.
Yeah.
And can take some time. But she is excited about Eloise's story. Now she didn't say who was next, but just in the way she talked about it seems to me that Eloise is next because she's so excited. Eloise's story is so different to write.
Yes.
Meaning actively writing, because it doesn't end with marriage, it starts with marriage.
And she's also said that unlike season 4, where they could keep it pretty true to the books, that more like in season 3, Eloise's season will have the same essence of the books, but it will not be the same.
We're going back to moments, people.
We're going back to moments, but I'm actually okay with that because there was a lot about
for this book. I'm okay.
There was a lot about Eloise's book that I wasn't okay with. And I think that Jess Brownell also knows that Eloise is kind of the face of feminism in a time where we're being trampled on. Like the world is going to war.
Yes.
Feminism is being trampled on, women's rights are being stripped away, and I think that Eloise's story is incredibly important. So if we have her going the same way as the book of she doesn't
becoming a trad wife,
essentially, yeah, I think a lot of people will be incredibly upset about that. Like I'm completely okay with her being married off and adopting the twins, well, as much as one does when one marries, you know what I mean by adopting, and having her own children. I'm completely okay with that story as long as it is complementary to her also becoming a writer, becoming a speaker, having things that are
or some sort
own.
of teacher with him.
Yeah, starting up her own school like Jo March, something that is educating women, that is furthering women, because I think that that was kind of the light that the Queen saw in Eloise as well. So I'm absolutely okay with them changing up Eloise's story.
We're seeing a furthering of
need.
Women because she allowed Penn to continue Lady Whistledown. Like she told the ton, I'm okay with women working.
Yeah.
If it suits me.
Yes. Yes. And I think she will absolutely love, because, I mean, the Queen was someone who was thrust into society. She didn't choose this. She didn't choose to be the Queen, but she learned to live with the consequences. And she's like, you know what? If I have to live with these consequences, I'm going to make things better for other people so they don't have to go through the same lack of choices. At least George gave me a choice. Let me give them a choice. I feel like that's going to kind of be her arc. Anyway, is there any other Bridgerton news?
Yes, there is.
Yes, go for it.
So sorry, I just found out, like literally in the interim between our last recording and this one, that Johnny Bailey won the What's on Stage award for Richard II. So yay, Johnny Bailey.
Props to Johnny Bailey.
And also the other Miss Bennett and I didn't have a chance to look up that actor again. But the young lady who played Miss Berrigan is playing Mary Bennett in the other Bennett sister, or the other Miss Bennett, and they got their release date, and they are releasing in March on iPlayer in England, and they're releasing in May on BritBox. And funnily enough, they are also using pop covers. And guess what pop cover for season 4 we wanted that is going to be is being used for the trailer of the other Miss Bennett?
AC/DC? Thunderstruck?
No, String. Like we both said, this is so Benedict season. Pop cover. It's actually pop.
Actually pop, and so not We're Going Down Swinging?
No.
Because that my brain has it, and it's right there.
It is Pink Pony Club.
Pink Pony Club. Oh, that's so funny that they've used that.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. And then last but not least, Hyacinth's dance, her little dance recital dance to Charlie XCX has become a viral trend. If you have not seen it, it's everywhere. Everybody's doing this little dance to the point, because most of them were getting it wrong, that the choreographer, is Chris's first name? Am I getting that right?
Murphy. Dan Murphy? No.
Jack
Murphy. Jack Murphy.
I don't know why I was saying Chris. Sorry, Jack Murphy. But Jack Murphy posted a video himself teaching the dance properly because it's gone viral and so many people are doing it incorrectly. But I mean, everybody's doing it. To the point of the coffee shop in my town did an advertisement. They have Bridgerton themed coffees, and they did an advertisement with this Charlie XCX Bridgerton dance.
So that was one of the things I was going to mention in the last one, was I love all of the posts going around, like the videos going around the internet of everyone being like, me ever since watching Bridgerton season 4, and it's them doing the Hyacinth's dance. Do I like?
Well, she even did it. She went to the Vogue fashion show, and she was showing her outfit before she went, and she did her own dance.
I love that. That's so fun. And I mean, like Florence Hunt is very young and fun kind of vibes. So like, I can see that.
Yeah, we've seen it everywhere. Like even Shondaland, I think Shondaland offices did what it's like in the office now. You know what?
I think I would lose the plot is if they have the awards next year, and if the Bridgerton crew win the award and they play that song, and the whole crew, the whole cast, like do the dance leading all the way up to accept their awards.
Oh, speaking of, that wasn't even in my Bridgerton news list, but I'm going to throw it out there.
Can we pause for a second? Go.
Okay. So this wasn't even part of my list, but we just had the actor awards renamed from the SAG Awards. And there's a picture floating around the internet about Bridgerton going, the Bridgerton cast going to the actor awards, yet they were not prominently placed at the tables. I watched the entire awards. I saw nary a face. I mean, I didn't watch Red Carpet because I didn't see it on the night it occurred. I saw the awards episode, the awards show. Mm-hmm. But they weren't I did not see their table. I didn't see them in the audience. Cameras never panned by them. And you'd think biggest show playing right now.
Yeah.
And they went. There's a picture of a large group of them that went to these awards. Mm-hmm. I found that interesting.
Right. Any other news?
Nothing that I could find. That is all I can.
I do believe it is time to make haste into today.
Make haste!
No, I'm going more Miss Bennett. Mrs. Bennett, sorry.
Oh,
Mrs.
Bennett would be like, my poor nerves, we must make haste.
We must make haste before my nerves expire. You're going to make my nerves expire, woman, but I love you.
I can't wait to see Olivia Colman be Miss Bennett.
Honestly, but Mr. Darcy ain't quite Darcy for
Bennett.
Me, so I'm
no. And Rufus Sewell, I'm not sure.
Over to
Rufus Sewell, I'm not sure how I feel about him being Mr. Bennett.
I cannot imagine anyone other. What was
I've only ever seen him play a jerk.
Who's your actors, you know faces and names. Not To Kill a Mockingbird. Why is my brain just absolutely gone? Ian Sutherland, Keith no, yes,
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland. Thank you. I cannot imagine anyone other than Donald Sutherland as the father. Like my mind,
he is my favorite Mr. Bennett.
Father. Although actually, I could kind of vibe with sorry, I can't remember the actor's name right this second, but Arthur Weasley as Mr. Bennett.
I could see that.
He's got that,
and
just
honestly,
sweet dad vibes.
Honestly, if he grew out his hair a little bit, I could see Colin Firth graduating to Mr. Bennett
That would be
at
super
his age
cute.
now.
I actually
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And I love they've done a few things actually where the older cast have then become version
The
of like
younger have become the older. Yeah.
yeah, I vibe it. I love that Tom Felton got to play Lucius Malfoy in the
Mm-hmm.
play. Lucius? He
He
played
played
Lucius, right?
himself.
Did he play himself
He
again?
played Draco.
I thought he was playing Lucius for some
No,
reason in the
because
play.
no, because Draco is in his 40s, so he Drake
Oh, because it was
in his
Cursed
late 30s
Child.
or Cursed Child. Yeah.
That is correctamundo, but I'm so happy that he got to play the older self of himself at least.
Yeah.
All right, I digress. Let's talk about a sweet treat, deep diving into the shallow waters.
Yeah, we're not deep diving. This is just we want to talk about
We're deep
season 4.
diving, but you will hit shallow waters real fast, so you might break an ankle.
Yeah. We want to deep dive, but we won't, and it'll hurt.
Yes. Rule 1, folks. Don't dive unless you know the depth. Actually, just don't deep dive. Like, it's not safe unless you are a trained professional.
Throw Gregory in first. How deep is it, Greg? I don't know. You check.
Poor Gregory. He'd be like, I'll go first. I'll go first. Breaks an ankle.
Yeah.
I should have sent you first.
I mean, he's the one. He seems to be okay with just having his arm in a sling when he fell off a roof.
Yeah.
I think he's
All
the
right.
safest bet.
Like this is an overview, so I do want to start in episode 1, which is Benedict coming. I've seen some very disgruntled comments about the fact that, and this is a little bit crass, so prepare yourself, people. The fact that Benedict has potentially taken his mouth from dick to mouth.
Wow.
He just got done hooking up with a man, and then goes straight to hooking up.
He doesn't go straight, obviously.
Well, no, he doesn't. He goes zigzag.
He went. He had to go to his bachelor lodgings to.
He definitely doesn't go straight. He goes.
We're hoping he washes.
What kind of line is a pansexual line, Patty? Is it ziggy-zaggy or is it wibbly wobbly? Is it timey-wimey?
Well, my brother who is gay, like if you're giving him directions and you say go straight, he's like, I do not go straight. He goes, I move gaily forward.
Okay. Benedict moves panly forward. All right. Yes. So what are your feelings on the fact that Benedict does go from having sexual dalliances so casually to falling in love? I will hear your perspective before I start jumping in.
Hear your so as I've been saying the whole time I've been talking about Benedict, not that I to downplay sexuality at all, and when someone tells me they are what their sexuality is in that moment, I believe them, because in that moment it is. But we're all human and we all grow and change and have moments in our lives. And personally, for me, I think Benedict's actions since season 1 has been unresolved trauma, been depression that he's masking. And that plays into not exactly being discerning with your body sometimes. A lot of people, like, they do things they wouldn't normally have done if they were in a better headspace when they're depressed, when they are unhealed from trauma. And I think that Sophie healed him immediately when they met? No. But I think he finally met someone that interested him enough and he felt a vibe from enough that, I mean, it fundamentally changed him. Like he fed off her joy. So
for me personally, I think that Benedict is like, we are now seeing kind of his past kind of catch up with him and he's feeling very lost. It's actually a very, very similar storyline to Colin's in last season, where he's pretending to have a purpose, but his purpose currently is actually Anthony's purpose. And so he feels like a fraud. Mm-hmm. And
he's a placeholder.
He's very much a placeholder, and I think he's very much trying to find his place in society, but he's doing it kind of in that throwing myself at anything kind of path that I'm not going to actually stick. Like his purpose, I think
he's escaping responsibility.
He's escaping reality.
Yes, his reality right now sucks. He is a placeholder for Anthony. He's doing the job. He's knows he's good. He was good at the job, but now he doesn't care because he is irrelevant. What we don't see enough of in the fine print is that Benedict is now rendered useless because Anthony had an heir. So he is floating and he doesn't know what to do with himself. So he is throwing himself into this life of drinking and drugs and excess. and promiscuity because he literally has his whole identity's gone. He has been
Yes.
number two. He has been the spare for as long as we've known him, and that's gone.
Yes. I
And
mean,
when he meets
maybe him
Sophie
and
and
Prince
he
Harry need to catch up.
right when he meets Meghan Markle, I mean Sophie. When he
Actually,
meets
vibes.
Sophie, yeah, it does. When he meets Sophie, she is so unlike anyone else in the ton. She is not trying to find marriage. She just wants to have fun, which is true and not true. She's playing a part, right? Because it's a masquerade. She wants everything she's saying she doesn't want. She just doesn't believe she can have it. So it sounds great to him and he's intrigued by her, but getting to know her as a person and her, like, she is very down to earth and she lives in reality, and Benedict is so imaginative that he needs that, and that's what he's drawn to, and that's what changes him because he
I
now has a purpose again.
I
he
think it
he saw somebody saw him for him, and he realized he doesn't need the title of spare anymore.
I think the moment that he sees Sophie, and I think the reason that he can go from such torturous behavior basically to turning up to this ball, walking in and immediately being captivated by the woman, is the fact that to see childlike wonder on a person, and even nowadays, is so rare. Everyone is constantly chasing, and he has been dopamine chasing. He has been
Yes.
drinking, drugs, sexually explicit behavior. He is dopamine chasing. Even his art, it was cool and fun when it was fun, but the second that it became tough and you no longer got that high dopamine from it, it was on to the next thing.
Move on
It
to
was on
something
to the
else.
next
Yep.
thing. And to see someone experience the most simplistic version of joy, I think is a really beautiful thing. And it's something that even I experience all the time. Like poor Marina goes out on these walks with me and I'm like, look at that cloud. Look how pretty that is. Oh, look at the way, like my favorite thing is I go out at sunset, right? And the way that the gold washes over everything and just makes everything look so magical. Like everything's just
Yeah, I
bashed in
deleted the
gold.
picture. I realized I forgot to send it. But I took a picture last night. I had come back from my great niece's first birthday and I was sitting here like, getting the computer unhooked because I was going to go. My office is my living room this week because I'm on vacation.
Hmm.
So I looked up at my honeycomb shelves and the shelf where I have all of my like my little your ornament you sent
Hmm.
me, the Bridgerton card game I had gotten for a gift. And I have a teacup that Teresa had gotten me. I put all together. It's my little, like, it's a Bridgerton tableau kind of thing.
Hmm.
And the sunlight from sunset was coming from my living room where the dogs are nosy neighbors and peek out my curtain. So it's always open a couple inches. So this strip of gold was just illuminating that shelf.
Hmm.
And I took a picture of it because I intended to send it to you guys and show you because I was like, that's so pretty. And it's my little Bridgerton shelf.
But
And
that's
then
what I'm
I
saying.
erased it thinking I sent it and I did.
Like to still be able to experience those small wonderments in life where it doesn't have to be like big glitzy glammy big dresses, the biggest diamonds. Like when you can look at the most simple things in life and feel such joy from them. And I think that Benedict had lost that in himself, and to see it in someone else. And that's the thing, is your partner is supposed to help bring out the best qualities in you. And sometimes it's by seeing them in others that you realize that you want that for yourself. And I think that he realized, especially as an artist, to see someone looking upon something with such joy that he wanted to capture, like it gave him that feeling of, I want to capture this moment, like that look of wondrous joy.
Well, and we've said before, like, Colin loved Penn because she found joy in everything. Like she lived such a hard life, but she found joy in things.
Mhm.
And it's the same with Sophie. Like honestly, Benedict and Sophie's story and Colin and Penn's story are very
Actually, more similar
similar.
than people think.
Yes, very similar in terms of who the men are
How they were treated
in
within their own household.
identity versus who the women are in identity. and why they work together.
Well, they both had secret identities. One was Lady Whistledown, one was the Lady in Silver, but they were both hiding their true identities from
and they
the
both came
spouses.
from very hard lives, living kind of like second citizens when they didn't need to be.
Ooh, that's a point. This is why Jess Brownell changed the ending from the book when everything else was so similar. She changed the ending from the book of how long Benedict was mad in the book about discovering her true identity because she learned from season 3 that people were pissy at how long Colin was mad at Penelope and how angsty it had to be for too long. Just give us the happy couple era, please, for the love of God.
Well, that, and I think that Benedict being older, we basically watched 2 Bridgerton men go through the exact same story, except Colin was not for Whistledown. He let everyone else do it. But basically the same story, except Benedict is a little older, a little more mature, a little more open with his feelings because he's a little more, I don't care.
I wouldn't say Benedict's more mature than Colin. I
mean, maturity as an age. Like, yeah. He's older, mature, lived a little more life. So he's seen in some cases what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So he more easily said I love you to Sophie. He got his point across about her not trusting him with the information, and that must mean her love isn't as deep as he thought.
Yeah.
And that hit the mark enough to further communication rather than have 2 episodes of stagnant angst. Right? Because Colin is young. Colin, 23 years old at the end of his season. So it's a much different vibe. He's not fully formed yet. And he doesn't
he hasn't reached Super Saiyan 6 just yet.
Yeah, he and Penn are still learning. I mean, their communication's pretty good now, but really, what did we see except them trying to hide everywhere? And I mean, they're still in their physical era. They're not quite at we have problems and we need to communicate through them era yet.
Looking at the meeting of Benedict and Sophie, because we only have 1 hour it's probably going to be 2 hours and just split. We have limited time and I've got 1 hour before I've got to go pick up my child. I think that I love the way that Sophie like when Benedict and Sophie are now outside and on their own. I absolutely adore the fact that Sophie fends the women of the ton and sees things because she's seen from both perspectives as being not a Debbie, but she's seen Posey and how she, struggles and the struggles from the other side, like both sides of it, of what the women go through in order to get a husband, and that Benedict he's seen his sisters go through it, but he's never heard it from their perspective. I think as much as he has a lot of conversations with Eloise about her not even wanting to be on the ton, so he's never really, I don't think he had a close relationship with Daphne, because I think he was the free child and she was so prim and proper that I don't think they ever really had a true conversation. And so he isn't
like I said in season 1, I feel like he was a little dissociated. Like he is not so much ne'er-do-well second son, but he was a player. He's off playing. Like the whole promo is that he's a fuckboy. And I think he started out as a player, going out having fun is my vibe, and then became, a rake.
Yeah.
More so. Once being introduced to that whole scene with Paul and whatnot. So, and then obviously it becomes talked about more because the ton never talked about him being a rake in the Genevieve years or the art years, right? The art academy years. But now all of a sudden, he's literally letting anyone have a ride. And even Eloise knows he's a rake.
Yes, and I think that's very much because he's not being so discreet, which is ironic given the fact that he's more discreet now than ever. But I think that I actually wonder whether his conversation with Sophie is what changes his perspective on how to, because now he's meant to be chaperoning Eloise on the mat. He is the lord of the house. So he is supposed to be chaperoning Eloise. And I wonder whether Sophie's defense of women of the ton and the marriage mart, and that is why he changes tacks with Eloise as well and tries to protect her somewhat from her mum, even though he realistically throws.
Sorry. Yeah,
to Betty.
No, I found one of my mandarins it's subpar, and because I did DoorDash, I want to get it. Now I probably won't eat any more in the bag.
So I love that Sophie kind of broadens Benedict's perspectives, and I think that is truly what kind of draws him to her as well. That she doesn't just, oh, Mr. Bridgerton, oh, Mr. Number Two. She's like, she just talks to him like he's a real person. She gives him real
Yep.
perspectives. She broadens his perspectives, and I think that was one of the things he loved about Tilly, was the fact that she was so different. She didn't just think linear like in of the ton. It was broadening his experience, because obviously, as we say, we can only act within our own experience of life, right? And so
Yes.
she's giving him an experience that, or an understanding of an experience that other people have lived, and helping to broaden his understanding of how the ton works, and giving him empathy in the regard.
Yeah, and like he said at the end, she saw him for who he was, and that is the shining trait. That
Mhm.
is what made him fall in love. Was here is a person who may or may not be of the ton, is a mystery, knows him but doesn't seem to know him, but is willing to get to know him and can perceptively catch him so quickly. Like he
Yes.
got to be himself. And she called him out on his stuff, right? She didn't let him get away with anything. She didn't enable him. She, didn't hold his hand, didn't mother him in any way, just let him be who he was. And Benedict hasn't had that.
Hmm.
Like everybody's just let him float. And you kind of get the vibe, honestly, like he is very open, very emotional support for his siblings,
Hmm.
but nobody really relies on him. Like think about how Antony's like,
Yes.
I'm so surprised all the T's were crossed and the I's dotted kind of thing.
Yes. As if
Like
he
nobody
expected
feels
him
like they
to,
can.
yeah,
Yeah, so
expected him
this
to fail.
was different for him. And I do believe we can have those moments, I forget what it's called, but where something can change us in a moment. Like,
Mm.
and he'd never been, even by his own family, never been so fully seen and been allowed to just be who he was
But he chose that
and be
crossroad as well. He
liked.
came he came to a crossroad, and instead of just continuing down the same path, he decided to pivot,
Exactly.
because it was something that made him feel for the first time in a really long time. Now, I kind of want to talk about this kiss scene, but I
And
don't
that's exactly how, like, and I think this plays into our conversation we had off camera, but that is how we can have a sexuality but end up with a specific person, right? You have that pivotal moment, because if you're going to commit to someone, let's take sexuality out of it. If you're going to commit to someone and you're going to commit to only them, then
Mhm.
you are saying forsaking all others.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean you didn't enjoy the time before and
Yeah.
that you didn't find pleasure in it. It just means that you've made a choice that this person is your person,
This is my person.
regardless of
Gender.
how your pieces fit together,
Yeah. Well,
right?
and it's kind of that ironic
Because your
moment of,
hearts fit together.
oh, look now, which kind of made me think of the puzzle pieces, kind of not pun, but like
Yeah,
the thing that they're doing in with Francesca. And
with Fran and Michaela. Yeah.
but can we
And I
talk
think it's
about,
the same thing.
now the kiss scene, but very, very specifically how
Like,
it
which one?
relates. That's the point I'm making. Very specifically how it relates to the later part of this, because in this scene, Benedict very clearly wants to kiss Sophie and sort of
Mm-hmm.
leans in to do so. And then realizes, no, you're a lady. I'm not going to ruin you. And then in later parts of the season, when he is actively chasing Sophie in a way that they said they weren't going to do, but they did it anyway, which I did not love. Let me put it right here. I loved the
But
season. I loved their love story. I loved the
yes.
ending. I didn't necessarily love the journey. Okay.
Well, the
So
journey, I think that they think what they did
no,
instead was made it look like they were bumping into each other.
they didn't.
Because in episode 4 rewatch, for us to do that episode 4 impressions again, it does seem like they just keep running into each other. Like Bridgerton House is not, like he is keeping his promise and staying away, but they just keep running into each other. Like he walks into the drawing room and she's in there looking out the window. He didn't know she was there. Like it does seem like he's bumping into her, but is
So the reason that I had to collect my train, the train left. The part that I was trying to make was how Benedict was unwilling to kiss her and ruin Sophie, because the lady in silver, because she was a maid. And then I love the part where Sophie calls him out and says, what makes you think it is okay to kiss me? You know, the fact that
Mhm.
he would not kiss the lady in silver because she was a lady. But now that
Mhm.
Sophie is a maid, he deems it okay to potentially risk ruining her. And this all harkens back to episode 2 or 3, where Mrs. Crabtree has this
Three.
whole conversation with Benedict saying, you are in a position of power. You cannot abuse that power, because she is in a position where she may not necessarily be able to say no. And again, like with the Paul situation, coercive is not sexy. Repeat it with me,
No.
people. Like,
And here's the difference, and it just shows how Benedict is also a little self-centered. If he would ruin a lady, it would also tarnish his reputation
yes.
for being someone who is okay with ruining ladies.
Yes, which is why we had the
But
whole Fife situation where he was also afraid of being.
yes, he would have just been Fife. If he would have kissed her and it would have been found out, and she, as the Lady in Silver, had been Sophie Gunn,
Yes.
you know, legitimate daughter of the Earl of Penwood, it would have been different.
Yeah.
But as a maid, he feels entitled because it's not going to hurt him in any way. If somebody finds out he kissed his maid, they're going to be like, oh, okay, was she a good kisser, whatever? Like, what did you learn there? Because the boys are allowed to learn from wherever they can find education, right?
Yes.
And she's, quote unquote, just a maid.
Although
She's
I do notice that from some of the vernacular that they use, that brothels are maybe less accepted. Like, you're allowed to get an education, but when you are specifically going to a brothel, I suppose you are at higher risk of contracting diseases.
Right. I mean, and the thing is you're expected to go to brothels to learn. You're not expected to frequent.
Yes. So,
right? Like, you're going to learn the ropes maybe once, twice, 3 times, but you're not expected to frequent. Like, you become somebody, like, technically Simon, season 1, like, we see him with a few different ladies leaving money on the table, right? Mm-hmm. Frequenting gives you, you know, mothers are not going to want their daughter to be with that person because there could be health.
Yes. Yeah. And I do love that they kind of bring up that point, though, for Sophie. Well, that Sophie brings up that point and kind of respects herself, not just because of what her mum went through, but because she's saying, like, have you ever stopped to think about me and what this means for me? And yes, they do romanticize it of the whole, yes, all I ever do is think about you. But, like, he doesn't actually, he's a little bit like Eloise in the fact of, you are my current obsession, and they romanticize that he can't go without her. They do make it a little bit toxic. And I really struggle with a couple of the episodes of Benophie kind of content because of that. Like, I'm sure if you look back at the reactions, you see me like, ugh, you know.
Well, and here's the thing too. You know, rewatching episode 4 for us doing that content, I noticed the scene where Hazel is trying to prove she's clairvoyant, right? Mm-hmm. Like, she has second sight. And so they're talking about talents, and then they, you know, get talking about one of the maids mentioned being a well-to-do mistress, because they were talking about who's the new neighbor next door. They're like, well, there's no husband. I don't see a husband going about, no male, so it's just a lady and whatever. And they're like, ooh, maybe it's a well-to-do mistress. And Mrs. Wilson is like, mistresses would not be living in this neighborhood, basically. Yes. Like, yes. That's just not a good thing. But, like, the younger maids view being a mistress as a good thing because it elevates them financially, right? Yes. Not necessarily in status, but it's just like generationally how in the 50s being divorced is very different than, and being divorced today is kind of celebrated. Whereas in the 50s, you were a social pariah, right?
Whereas now you know your worth.
Yes. Now it's, oh, she figured that man out, or he learned his value and he got away from that woman, you know? Yeah. So it's very much similar where the older generations are like, oh, mistress. And the younger generations are idolizing it because it seems better than what they have. Yeah. And so we do get to see Sophie sitting there reacting. She doesn't say anything, but she's reacting. And you can see that even she is, you know, she hears Mrs. Wilson, who's older, who's her boss, supervisor. And she's like, yeah, I definitely don't want to be that. I already know I don't. But she's hearing people her own age idolizing it. And she's like, it's kind of hurting her that they're idolizing it because her mother didn't get that same treatment. You know what I mean? Like,
should we talk more specifically episode 2, Benophie, where they get their first meeting? And because I don't want to go into, like, obviously specifics because we will cover those eventually, but, like, the pain
we need to kind of move a little faster. We're only on episode 2. Yes, she was, I mean, good thing this is the end of episode 2, but she was devastated when he didn't recognize.
Yeah. And that whole the song to Enchanted to the whole prosy, but we talked about that, so I'm only going to overview. But episode 2 was just Sophie deep in her feel of he wanted the Lady Silver, not me, and
Right.
the
Well, and
meeting
she's got
kind of
her hype
solidified that.
guy. She's got her hype guy, Alfie, going, he's looking for you. He's trying to find you. It's you, it's you, it's you. And then
She's
he
like, it's not
finds
me.
her. He finds her and he doesn't recognize her. And she's obliterated. Like, how could he not recognize? I mean, he does, to be fair, he does keep saying, are
literally.
you sure I don't know you? I feel like I've seen you somewhere before.
And that was the part that just drove me even crazier because I'm like, God damn it, it's right there. Just tell him. Okay, episode 3 is probably my favorite of the Benophie.
And again, just like season 3, season 4 would have been a heck of a lot shorter if these people just communicated.
Communicate. Maybe we need to write a song about communication.
Right?
COMMUNICATI.
The next time you feel something, think something, know something, and you're not forthcoming with that information because you think you're protecting yourself, you're just making your season last that much longer.
We need to change the lyrics of "The shit is bananas" to "The shit is communication." This is shitty communication.
It's shitty communication. COMMUNICATION.
Shitty communication. Had a really shitty time.
Or like if anybody remembers Schoolhouse Rock, because this kind of it just fits the beats better. Like that conjunction junction, what's your function? It would be like communication.
What's your function?
yeah. Communication. What's your function?
Honestly, all the Bridgertons.
Connecting to people and keeping them and
together.
Bringing on clarity.
I absolutely love episode 3. I thought that episode 3 was the epitome of falling in love. And it was so much purer than the Masquerade Ball, because yes, the Masquerade Ball they did talk very deeply, but I feel like it was kind of, as I said about that that honeymoon,
and that's what I don't think this trope is more love at first sight as it really is mistaken identity, because obviously he's in a love triangle where the two women are the same person. But yes, for this very reason, because he became infatuated with the Lady in Silver, but he fell in love with Sophie.
Yes. And there is a very big difference. And I think he did, like, the Lady in Silver, it wasn't just an appearance thing. Because for one, that mask
was not cute.
Was not it. It wasn't just an appearance thing. I think he saw her soul, and he saw the wonderment and joy in, and I think that is what he fell in love with, because he is very much pansexual, where he sees the inner being rather than the outer shell more so than anything. But the lips were there. You were kissing the lips. You looked at the lips. Come on, dude. Come on. Anyway, I digress.
Well, and to be fair, Mrs. Hollis's lips were pretty close. Right. Pretty close, but not exact.
No,
but how are you not seeing? And you kissed the Lady in Silver, and then you kissed Sophie. When those lips are lips like that mattered that much to you, those lips when you kiss them again. Because I had a severe gap, in kissing 20 the same
years.
Lips.
Actually, how long was it between
the same. Kisses? Oh, more than 13. I'll say we'll say 14, 15.
That's like the entirety of my relationship.
Yeah, 14, 15 years. But it was like all of that time went smoosh.
I mean, if it was
same
a peck,
lips,
I can understand not recognizing a peck.
Oh yeah, because when you pucker like a grandma, that's not your lips. That's not the feel.
No, but when you are like passionately kissing, there's a very distinctive signature that goes with it. Even not super passionately. No, but like, you know what I mean, like not just
even
like
a little bit. If it's a soft lip kiss and it is a kiss that rocked your world, because when she kissed him, that rocked his world. He's not used to that. Yes, and we just talked about smell. People, when you love somebody, you know their smell. You love their smell. Yes,
every little smell.
Like how do you go from being, like you said, pansexual, seeing her soul, to being completely blinded just because she's a maid?
Yeah,
that's almost worse than the weight issue.
Yeah. I loved and the part that surprised me was he's teaching Sophie how to fly a kite, right? He is seeing
Let's
that
go
same
fly a kite up to the highest height. Sorry,
he is
Mary
seeing the
Poppins.
same childlike wonder in her that he saw.
Yes.
And I kind of wish that he got like almost flashback because she's looking up at the kite the exact same way that she was looking up at the chandelier. And I wish he kind of got like a moment of like, you know,
Yeah,
where
like in
Colin
the book, the
scrunches up
mask
his
moment, deja vu.
you
Yeah.
know, when Colin scrunches up his face and Penelope scrunches up her face, when something's
Yes.
itching at their brains. And I wish that he did the same thing because I mean they're brothers. Like of course they would have very similar motions for things. So I kind of wish that we got the moment of like him scrunching up the face, like this is tickling in me. Like, why
Yeah.
does this
I
feel so
wish we would have
familiar?
seen more. I wish we would have seen more like
Moments of
questioning
recognition.
on his face where he's like, you're so familiar. Like
Yeah.
we only get the I think I know you. Have we met in end of episode 2, but we never hear it again
No,
until he finds the pendant.
we also got him in a Bernie fever dream with her kind of moment.
Yes, but he was in a Bernie fever dream, and that was like,
Burning away his stupidity, apparently.
well, and you can also say like he couldn't even open his eyes real good because of his fever that came on suddenly. You know,
3 hours after injury occur. Definitely plausible. You've been assessing the house
Jess
MD.
Brownell, Jess Brownell listens to our podcast and goes, "Women,
I hate them. She's like, can you stop
we
picking
hate them
holes?
so much."
I
We
can just
really do love the show.
I can hear from here the occasional people, and I'm like, why did you even join the Facebook page? Honestly, I see it on the Bridgerton page all the time. People being like, the questions that people ask, like, why are they so invested? It's fantasy, and I'm like, because we're insane. Okay, get on board or get off the drain.
Because we're spicy. We are neurospicy, and this is one of our special interests. Please go sit down.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sit your butt over there. I absolutely love the kite flying scene. I love the lake scene. Not just because we get to see one of the most phenomenal butts around. Definitely not objectifying anyone. I'm definitely talking about the bumblebee butt, of course, you know, little bumblebee butt, love one of those.
But I personally love the front with the
yes.
lowered side of the trouser
Yes.
with that little line. Like what is that? What is that? Please explain why that matters to me.
The heart was doing some flippy whippy things. Like the heart was going wibbly wobbly. Luke Thompson, calm your farm, Sarah.
Like,
I'm married. That
like
is rude.
not enough body hair for me, but that line, man, that line, the torso, leg, like hip line. I don't know what it is.
Back dips. I don't know why. It is a
Back dip
weakness.
too, yeah.
Back or weakness. The little dimple. Weakness. I feel sorry for Sophie here. I do not know how she wasn't like, open me up, give me your babies, I am yours. Because like,
well, she was because she allowed him to kiss her.
Yes. And I actually adore their first kiss. I think that their first kiss is
second. I hate that they call this a first kiss.
Well, I call
but
it
I know
first,
it's a first kiss with
for
Sophie.
This is why I call it a first kiss, because I do not deem this as the same person, and he is kissing her differently because he does not deem her to be a lady.
He sees her. It's her.
Yes. So I say that this is their first kiss because this has felt like the first mutual kiss between two actual human beings, not two masked human beings. So I adore this first kiss more than Colin and Penelope's, not for the feels, but for the physical elements of the kiss. I think that this was the most realistic for a first kiss. Penelope was too experienced.
Well, true. But I mean, the person I had an issue with in this kiss is Luke Thompson. Like, and he's a very experienced kisser. But he also he acted like he wanted to open his straight up his jaw and consume her whole head. Like his mouth is so wide and big compared to hers that it just engulfed. And I'm not in a bad way. Not saying that in a bad way at all. I just got caught up in that while watching the kiss.
Imagine that Smorg said,
maybe that's why he didn't recognize her lips in the kiss, because he ate them instead of pressing his lips to them.
Imagine Smog giving you this feedback. Oh, our kiss was good, but your mouth is so large that it swallowed me up. Were you trying to
My
consume my whole
mouth is
soul, Patty?
small.
Would that feel good? Or would that maybe hurt a little bit?
I'm sure Luke feels the sting, but that's not what I mean. I just his like
Luke, I think you're perfect. Don't listen to her.
he's got a very wide, big mouth, and she doesn't.
Luke, your mouth is perfect.
It's a neurodivergent thing,
Patty,
okay?
you're killing me here, Patty.
Colin and Penelope's mouths were more suited. They were very symmetrical to each other.
All right, folks. This is derailing. Just you heard it here first. If you have a big mouth and your partner has a little mouth, start filing the paperwork now. You guys are done.
Do not just don't kiss in front of me. That's all I unless you want feedback, because I'm gonna be like, you're swallowing her whole.
Did I see a man yesterday that was like 6'5" and his partner was maybe 5 foot at best? And I was like, Jesus Christ, you are
Those
two
are
of
the
her.
best.
You are two of her, sir. Like, how does that even
That's
work?
awesome.
Technically?
He's like, hello down there, honey.
How's the weather?
No, that's what she's yelling up to him.
Um,
He's like, it's raining. And she's like, it's just misting. It'll get to you eventually.
Honestly, I loved that fight because it was so married couple fight. I absolutely adore the crab. This is kind of side story, but I love the way that they take care of Sophie and protect her, and I cannot wait. Like, I don't know whether we'll get to see the Crabtrees in season 5, but I really hope that we see some sort of bonding between the Crabtrees and Sophie as now the lady of the house, because I think that they will be so happy for her, and I kind of wish that I know that we get pissy at side stories, but can't have everything. But I really wish we got a moment of Mrs. Crabtree and like Alfie and Irma or something just before Sophie walks down the wedding and she's like, welcome home, my dear. Like, just instantly, like, this is your home now.
Is she in
the wedding scene?
Like, in the crowd?
Yeah.
The Crabtrees?
I'm 90% sure they're in the back.
I mean, I haven't looked at everybody yet, but that's probably we accept you. And I love the fact that she was never treated as a maid while she was there, because she is coming back as the lady of the house.
Yes, whereas in the book, she at least tried to be the maid many, many more times. And Mrs. Crabtree was like, I could help.
But their life when they come back to my cottage is not, like, the reason they work together is because neither one of them are about class, right? They're just about people. Your soul, your humanness. Yeah. So I don't even think they treat the Crabtrees like employees. I mean, Benedict certainly.
Well, in the same way that
really.
Like, they still have to do work for you. Like, Mrs. Wilson is treated with the utmost respect. And I think you can treat your staff like staff while still treating them like human beings.
Yeah, but Benedict treats the Crabtrees like his grandparent.
Yeah.
So
definitely not me.
Still,
Mummy, can I have some? I said, oh, Mummy, Ezra might want some dippy eggs on toast in the morning, and maybe his mummy would like some too.
I've been watching Shrinking. If anybody has Apple TV and you haven't watched Shrinking, you must watch it. But there's a very similar scene where the neighbor lady, which is, I can't think of her name, but she was in the Drew Carey show, and Ted McGinley is her husband, and their son is home from college, and he's currently having a sad moment, and it's annoying her. She's like, oh, he's so whiny, like, he's the worst, he just needs to stop. And then the kid pops his head around the corner. He's like, Mom. And she's like, what, darling, I love you. And he's like, I could go for some French toast. And she's like, okay, coming right up. And then he walks away. She's like, do you see he's just getting on my nerves or whatever. And her husband is like, you're such a loving mother. And then she goes, well, we could use some French toast. He goes, oh, I'm making, yeah. And he's like, coming right up.
What we got the thoughty there.
We're gonna arc over. We've arced over kisses. Like, I want to arc over fights, because all of their fights are very married fights.
It wasn't a fight per se. One of the two of the most impactful moments for me in this entirety of the season is Benedict losing the plot after the funeral and him going outside and being like, I need to break, but I can't break. And he is finally realizing the full impact of being Anthony is you, when you're the head of the house, children, and you've got people relying on you and you're trying to hold it together for Francesca, like because John was his brother. Like, they very much acted like brothers. The Lord Squad, they had bonded. They weren't just
not the Lord Squad. The club.
Sorry, the the brothers, the
the
gentlemen's
the
club,
club. Yeah, the
the gentlemen's club.
Mondrich and Bridgerton, Sterling,
The moments where Benedict
MBBS.
cracks over not being able to hold it together after the funeral, and him knowing that him and Sophie parting was like respecting her choices, but it was breaking to do so. It was trying to help Francesca by doing the paperwork for
The estate.
yeah, but what are the parliament people, and losing a piece of paper and just throwing everything off the desk and breaking, it those moments to me where Benedict break were some of the most raw. Like, I think I felt every feeling that he had, and my heart broke for him. Like I understand when Luke Newton said, like, no notes. Like, Luke Thompson is such a
Oh,
phenomenal
like in the
actor.
scene where Dundas wants to perform. Well,
Yes.
he doesn't want to do it. He wants to get somebody to perform the exam on Francesca, and Benedict just. I think Benedict would have forced him into a duel if people hadn't calmed him down in a way,
Yeah.
like because
For
he
for
was
a
just
moment,
done.
I wondered there whether we were going to get the Benedict like lifting someone up by the throat kind of moment that we got from the book, and I thought it was going to
Oh,
be
I would have
Antoine
loved it if it was
Dundas.
Dundas. Oh my god, that would have been great.
I mean, I don't think that they would show us that. I mean, they did have Simon pummel the living crap out of little Weasley
Burbrook,
rat and
yeah.
Bearbrook in season one, but
But I
yeah.
mean, he could have taken Dundas up against the wall, like hand to throat. It wouldn't have been as bad as lifting him up. I
Yes.
mean, it would have fit into his, like, when he is protective over a woman, like he was
Yes.
protective over Sophie as the maid. This would be him being protective over his sister. Like, not that we want to see protective in physical
And
violence, but
aggression.
sometimes with men though, like as
That's
Simon
all I
and Mondrich said in season one, like that's all they respond to. And I mean, but he could get in serious trouble with Dundas because he works
and
for
he is
Majesty the
and he is
Queen.
a smarmy kind that would punish him
Yeah.
for it. But those moments with Luke Thompson were like, even though they weren't happy I actually I not liked them. I don't know I felt they were the most impactful scenes.
You were watching somebody who is good at their craft, and we've seen a lot of good acting in Bridgerton, but let's be real, like Bridgerton is television drama. There's a difference, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, but there's just a difference with theater that gives you different experience. And and I'll say this, like I read an article recently, or I read something recently about how actually it was a rundown about Shonda Rhimes and how she grew her empire the way it was, and like what she didn't back down from. And part of it was knowing what the people want. Like everybody, when they do a Pride and Prejudice, when they do a Sense and Sensibility, like Gilded Age is all theater people, right? And it's
Yes.
great. She didn't want Bridgerton to be that. She wanted to pull and cast from, television and other movies, and, a lot of unknown actors or people who were character actors who hadn't really had a breakout role really. And she did blind casting for a period piece, like all of this stuff, but it specifically said she was not seeking out theater actors, but she got that with Luke Thompson, and it shows.
But so you know
Like,
what? I actually would be extremely surprised if Luke Thompson and Hannah Dodd weren't both at the very very least not nominated for awards next season. And the reason that I say
I think we'll see
Hannah,
Bridgerton win its first acting M from
yes,
this.
and I think that the reason that I say Hannah over Yeren Ha, and I think that Yeren Ha was amazing, especially for the
I
fact
think they'll
that she
submit
had.
Urine, and she might pass the nomination, and they would both be nominated, but Urine would be lead, and Hannah would be supporting.
Support, yes. So the reason that I say Hannah over Yeren, I think Yeren did an absolutely phenomenal job. I think that she is an amazing up and coming actress, and I'm so excited to see her get her accolades and what else she's going to be doing in the future because she's just so fun. But I think that because Jess Brownell is so interested in Francesca's story, I feel like, and obviously with losing a husband, like that had to happen and it had to be impactful. And so she had to have some of the most impactful lines and scenes in the entirety of the series. So it had to play out the way it did, but I can also very much understand people's gripes with it being the Francesca show.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but I think that we needed to lose John in the way that we did. No, we didn't need to lose John. We could have kept him. But I mean, like, if we were going to lose John, I'm glad that they respected him the way that they did. But I do also really feel for Sophie that it did retract away from
have
her.
Have you seen the interview with them where, you know, she was talking about them filming that scene and how they were trying to keep it light because it was such a heavy scene to film. And she was like, he just would not die. Like, he kept, or I guess randomly popping up going, but wait a minute, like, let's rethink this. Like, does John really need to die?
I really like Hannah Dodd and
Victor Ali.
Thank Victor Ali. Victor Ali, like, his personality in real life is so drastically different that, like, I just about got whiplash. I was like, wait, this is not the same person, which tells you how phenomenal the acting is. That his whole demeanor, the way he looks like a different person. I think
Hannah Dodd is very different than Francesca as well. That's
yes. But anyway, yeah. So I think that Luke Thompson will win awards. I think Yeren Ha did a phenomenal job, and the scenes that she did get that were very emotionally distraught, like the scene where she just goes and just like yells, and that scene
screams into her hands.
That scene reminded me of Harry Potter when Sirius Black dies, and they ended up cut the audio for it because it was too emotional, and they, like, everyone was going to be like bawling their eyes out. Otherwise, like, the people watching it back were crying. Helena Bonham Carter was crying, like, and it kind of just gave me that same vibe, like, where you, like, it's just such a little moment, but it makes you feel so much. So Yeren had also scenes that just, she gave us so much. So I really
and it kills me, like, when you see her take a moment to break, but then she sucks herself back up, right? You know, pulls up her bootstraps. And that for me is almost more heartbreaking than the actual crying, because she knows she can't. She feels like she doesn't deserve what Benedict could provide her, what, you know, she's wanting more, and she's feeling the heartbreak of that. Like, wanting what you can't have is so hard, but then turning around and having your moment where you break and then coming back from it like, well, back to my life, you know, like that, those just crushed.
Okay, so you wanted to talk about the fights between Sophie and Benedict.
Yeah, I think they had married couple energy from the beginning, as we said, with the misting.
She was punishing him in a way that she was like, I expect you to know why you're in trouble, sir.
Well, I mean, and there's literally edits out there where, like, when she's walking away from him at Cavender's with the song playing, like, walk him like a dog, walk him like a dog.
I love that.
And truthfully, in episode 4, she kicks him out of his own house. She's like, you need to go. Don't bachelors stay in bachelor lodgings? Like, why are you in your mommy's house? Go away, basically.
Get out of my house, sir.
Yeah. Like, I'm the queen now.
This is my residence now. I run the roost around here.
I chose to be permanent here. You must go.
I chose your family. You may not choose me, but I chose your family, so you can get out.
There may be an appearance of a power dynamic because he is, you know, a gentry person and she is a maid, but you would never know it by the way they interact with each other.
I absolutely love that. I don't know whether it's a writing choice. I don't know whether it's a Yeren choice, but I love that they made her a lot more sassy than what she was. I mean, she did have her sassy moments in the books, but I love the...
Shonda likes a sassy girl, so I have a feeling that played into it.
Bridgerton news, but it were way past it, but I saw it was like Women Empowered Day or something, and Shonda shared us like a whole bunch of women speaking from her universes. So it had Nicola, it had Christina
Davis.
Yang, I know her name, Christina Yang from Grey's Anatomy. It had the lady from How to Get Away with Murder. It had
Viola Davis.
Thank you, Viola Davis. It had a lot of her, you know, main leading female cast doing speeches about female empowerment, right? Mm-hmm. It showed a 1-second clip of Guess Who, and then bypassed her without even giving her a swing role.
What?
One person got a 1-second acknowledgement on screen, but bypassed her before she could speak. Who do you think it was?
Nicola.
Simone Ashley.
Are you serious?
Hmm?
Oh, don't tell Kay.
So she popped up on the screen for like all of like a microsecond, and then they skipped on to the next person, which I think was Viola Davis, possibly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Don't
Ouch.
don't give Erin
Sorry.
the Kate
Sorry,
treatment,
Simone
please.
Ashley.
We adore you. You're our queen. We think that you are phenomenal. We treat all our queens equally,
Yep. All women are powerful. Yep.
especially
So
Ray.
okay, so we got to hurry up and talk about for sure the jail and court scene, because this is Benophie, and you said I couldn't in the last one. We had to save
Yes.
it for this one.
Yes.
And I don't want us to run out of time.
Yes. You take it away.
So could it have been different? Yes. But do I like how it turned out? Yes. Why? Because this very much felt like a Shonda, if Shonda Rhimes would do a legal drama. Do you know what I mean? Like this was straight
You've
up
given her ideas. I'm
Shondaverse.
surprised she hasn't, to be honest.
Well, I mean, How to Get Away with Murder was set in an academic setting, but it's a legal drama. Yeah. So it has that courtroom vibe of, prosecution against defense.
Yes.
The judge is like trying to keep them reined in, and then they walk in. We need to stop this proceeding. But like what I love here in the jail scene, first of all, like we get to see just how Araminta is when she comes to see her before the court. And her malice and her hatred are just drip off of her where Sophie is concerned. It's almost to the point of being like a mental illness. Like, how somebody, when they show like serial killers or somebody who killed somebody, and they are just so
face. They stop hiding.
They're mental about this person. Like they just so obsessively hate this person without any real evidence of why they would hate them. Like she's created a whole scenario of why Sophie's the bad guy when Sophie did nothing but be bored. Like she had no control over that. But I loved the staging of it, them being directly across from each other, so their drama plays off of each other. But when you pan back and you got the judge in the center, you can see they're two sides of a scale, is how it felt to me. And they're really, even though Sophie is defendant and Araminta is prosecution, they're on the same playing field. They're level with each other, the way it's staged. Like it's literally a she said at this point. And I think the judge I think he's siding with Lady Penwood only because of her station, but he acknowledging that Sophie's making decent arguments.
I absolutely loved, and I know that this isn't necessarily a Benophie thing, but a Sophie thing. I absolutely love the fact that they changed both of those scenes from the jailer and also the warden, who in the book, Benedict ended up strangling because of how they treated Sophie as a second-class citizen,
how they were treating
from the get-go.
her,
And instead, they changed it
to the warden was kinder.
Both the jailer and the prosecutor, what would you call it? Magistrate?
The judge. The magistrate, yeah.
Yeah, the magistrate both treated her as a human rather than, well, this other lady said as much. Like, even the jailer, he was like, well, it is her word against yours. And even if you are being truthful, there's nothing to do about it. Like, so he's being kind to her because he's like.
Yeah, because her station is higher and they usually side with the higher station.
Yeah. And I think he understands how wrong that system is. And so he's being kind to her. So at least, even if she has to be in there, he will show her some humanity at least. So I really actually did love that change. The part that I didn't like the change, and there was no real reason why they had to make realistic, was not having Posey stand up for Sophie. I wish Posey had run into that room and said, no, actually, I stole them. And Araminta to be like, oh, well, she still tried to impersonate or whatever. But I really wish that we had Posey standing up too, because she was about to get married off anyway. So like she was about to be married and leave. Like she could have gone to live with the Bridgertons until she was married off, like in a few weeks' time. Like they still could have made it make complete sense, but it would have shown Posey choosing to protect Sophie and have that not autonomy over her mum, but like.
But I think they wanted to give that savior moment to Violet, because Violet had to go through something where her value as a person is what carried the day, for her to get to the point where she's telling Lord Anderson she's not ready to settle down because she's got to figure out who she is. She had that moment where she felt youthful again.
But we still could have had that. Posey goes in, saves the day. Araminta says, you're out of my house. Find your own way. Violet says, don't worry, dear. I will take care of you. She then has another excuse for Lord Anderson. I had this new girl who I now have to chaperone through. One daughter's lost her husband. I'm too busy as a mum. Like, it still could have made complete
Yeah,
sense. So I don't know why they
and they
made
were
that change.
just
It didn't serve any
well,
plot point to change it.
but I think it's going to serve future plot points because I think all of a sudden this season, where we haven't seen it before, they made the correlation that the child most like Violet is Benedict.
Yes.
Right? Which I would have never considered to be true.
Not even slightly. I would have said Francesca
I
and
think
Colin.
Well, I would have gone between those three, Francesca, Colin, and Eloise, because if you think about the conversation she had with her mother and father about the ton and them getting educated and everything, like that's very Eloise-y. Like she's getting to prove somebody wrong. So I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I'm sure there's a piece of her in all of them.
They could have even said Hyacinth. Like, she's so much more like Hyacinth than Benedict. Benedict was a very odd choice of kid to choose because Hyacinth is so full of life and
barging in and them both waving their privilege around. And after the warden had just told her that they usually side with the higher station, which is technically Lady Penwood as an earl's widow.
Yes.
She's the higher station. Yet Violet gets to win in that moment.
But
Violet and Benedict win because of Violet.
John wasn't ill, was he not? Earl of Kilmartin.
But that's only affects Francesca, not Violet and Benedict.
Francesca could have been there.
Yeah, but Francesca is going through her own shit.
But they could have thrown around. Yes, she is the
but
dowager.
In the book it was Benedict and Violet. And so they made it Benedict and Violet.
I know, but she was a dowager of Penwood.
But she also, nobody likes her. And
she was the dowager
like the Bridgertons. So the magistrate knows who the Bridgertons are.
But she was a dowager, whereas the Bridgertons are attached to a viscount, an earl, and a duke, and have favor with the queen. Like, so it's just sometimes poor writing, and I know it's fantasy, but I need to make it into a shirt, make it make sense.
It needs to make sense. Yeah, make it make sense. You've got to close the loop, Bridgerton, sometimes. Like, there has to be a reason why. And we're going to continue finding those reasons. That's what we do here. We need to make it make sense. So we're going to close the loop so that it does. I mean, they followed the book where it was Benedict and Violet that ran off to court, not jail now, court. But the fact that it was in a courtroom means it would not play out like the book. So I did like that they were like popping up saying, oh, well, she could stay with us. Like, she doesn't need to be out on the streets. She can be in our care, like basically bailing her out and whatever. But
right. 2 things to close this loop of the episode. Sex scene start. That is not a first time.
No, very much not a first time. And the bathtub scene, I am not the only person that wondered. I know, I've seen it
everywhere. I've seen so many comments on it now. Like, the positioning people is not even. They were
in a bathtub. You don't exactly know what the bottom half is doing. She could be leaning backward, kind of.
The anatomy is not where you might think it is for that, unless he is tiny and therefore able to sneak in that easily. That is not it. The anatomy on men and women are in different
maybe
positions.
The soap from the bath helped a little.
No, it does not help one little bit.
I know.
Makes everything
I'm playing
worse.
With the. I mean, he's done it all, so I would not put it past him to try.
Not as a first time, and like you gotta ease into that situation, Patty. Like, come on, it was just a 5-finger discount on junk aisle. Like,
and I'm gonna say this because I don't think, I don't know if we said this on the record or not, but
do I want to sit on it?
The stairway scene is the carriage scene with a different ending.
No. Okay, we didn't. Now I'm whacking my ball. Hitting my pom pom. What do you call this?
The microphone.
Yeah, the
tripod.
The tip of the microphone.
Oh yeah.
Don't manhandle the tip. Come on.
No, too sensitive. Don't do it. But no, the staircase scene is just the carriage scene with a different ending. We had the exact same sexual experience, right? We had the same, like, come together passionately, and
the things
we had different declarations, but still very romantic, passionate declarations. But in the end,
it was hitting so good.
Yes, we were at our pinnacle.
And then he was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna try some Tiger Balm. Shall I put that on and see what that does? Oh, it burns. That's a surprise.
Let me put a little muscle rub. Oh wait, no, that's not good. But and I just want to point this out because I think this correlates. It may not, but I think it does. With all of the promo, Luke Newton was saying he did not have to give any advice to Luke Thompson. He gave no advice to Luke Thompson in his season, even though it was such a big deal that the previous seasons gave advice and passed down advice. This season, Luke Newton did not pass any advice. He felt like he didn't need to. Yet here we have a season of their first time in a carriage. He goes to whatever, second base, third base, whatever that is, and he proposes marriage. And then his older brother, same exact thing, but he proposes mistresshood. I think that whole, I didn't give him any advice is kind of like character Colin saying,
maybe he should.
I don't know. I didn't give him any advice, and it shows.
Yeah. No. This is Colin being like, I take no responsibility for this. That was all him.
Dude. Yeah, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Going back to their first time, that is not a first time.
Well, and we got flashbacks of her as a young child and everything, but servants and maids and everything do kind of live a different life, and they have a different moral code, kind of, that things are a little more open.
Your physical anatomy is still the same. A penis going into a vagina for the first time is still gonna hurt to some degree.
And I know she said, she heard it's gonna hurt. I love that they gave her the line and not him.
Yes.
And that was her way of saying she was a virgin. But we don't know. We didn't, there was no flashback scenes of her having any other experience. And she definitely knows her way around herself. So we just don't exactly know what she's done down there besides what we've seen. So I don't know. But that is not on camera. No, that's not a first time. I'm
not saying that your first time has to be boring, but it
isn't going to be.
Just make it look realistic. I know last season, some people complained that it was a little bit too realistic and it felt too intimate and looked like, you were looking in on two people's first time.
Every Luke and Nicola scene with Colin and Penn looks too real. And I'm not saying that in a bad way.
No. But at the same time, at least make it look realistic. Not saying it was bad. It was
unbelievable. Make it make sense. At least split it up and make it look like it's multiple times, not one.
Yes, show the passage of time, the light changing, the moon.
Like how for season 3 there was so much talk in the ton, i.e. the internet and the fandom groups, that how could Penelope get pregnant after only having sex one time? The sun moved in the sky. The light was different on the floor, but people aren't going to catch that. We needed a montage of some sort, or something moved. Yeah. Nobody's catching that the light is different. Nobody is catching that, her hair is not.
Duck, the mouse ran off the. I would.
He said, "Give me 5 or 10 more minutes," and they were there for the entire day. They were there for 5-6 hours tops. So yes. I think it happened more than one time, guys.
Yes, with that one. To finish off what Benedict has already finished off many times over.
Many times.
Sophie is Taylor Swift changes the lyrics to be armatized, but Sophie is definitely dickmatized.
She's Benedictmatized.
She is. She got herself a redwood tree and she ain't going back to no Japanese maple.
But Lord. I do love too that every season it seems like when the new girl to sex sees the man for the first time, they're pleasantly surprised, right? But that didn't really happen with Benedict and Sophie. We got no expression, because the only person that had that kind of expression was Violet with Lord Anderson. Mm-hmm. Oh, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Right? That works for me. But we didn't really get that with Sophie and Benedict. It's it almost gives me the vibe of No, when she's in her shift and Alfie comes in, he's like, I've seen a girl in her shift before.
Do you feel like that scene
Like,
was only now appropriate knowing that he has no interest?
what, that he walked in on her?
Yeah.
I never thought, I always believed he was gay. He had
Okay.
gay bestie energy from the jump. So I knew. You were like, I didn't get that vibe. I was like,
I just,
how did you not?
no, I just, I don't know why I didn't.
And then he's like, I wouldn't mind that either. Like, I knew it.
You know what? I would actually super vibe him becoming the Mister of Lord Remington, because obviously they couldn't be a thing, so that he'd have to be a mistress of sorts. But I'd kind of vibe that life for them,
Well,
leading, reading. Oh, and they could do a whole spin-off
reading
series
Whistledown.
to be the uncovering of Lady Whistledown, and it's just Lord Remington and Alfie being
Alfie.
detectives together.
Or it turns out that Remington and Alfie are Whistledown.
That would be phenomenal. Except they
That
already
would be
said it's not a man.
hilarious.
They said
It's
she.
not a man. I
They said
know.
he.
I know it's not a man. I have my theories, but it would still be funny.
It would be hilarious. I'm totally unhinged.
And he
Okay,
wouldn't call
wedding.
him Lord Remington. He'd
Let's
call him Remy.
finish off with wedding. My Remy.
Yeah.
Pull his hair and see where he. Like, I'm getting Remy from
Yes.
Ratatouille vibes.
Ratatouille.
When I pull
That's
his
funny.
hair in this way, something moves somewhere.
Well, Lord Remington, I mean, if he is pushing his chair, he'd probably have to reach back and pull something like, no, let's go left. Let's go
Something.
left.
Wedding scene.
Wedding scene was nice. I don't understand why Antony was the only
Yes, my
best
biggest gripe
man.
about it. Yeah.
Because both brothers were best men in his wedding to Edwina. That didn't
And
work out.
I don't know why, but I desperately wanted Hyacinth to be running up the aisle with flowers. Do.
She's
He would
too
love
old to be a
it.
flower girl. It would have
No,
been
she's
cute, though.
not. It would be perfect. My favorite is actually when people have grandmas be the flower girls. I think it's the cutest thing in the world.
I mean, it's odd too. Like, this would have never happened, and you totally have to suspend fantasy. There is no way, now that she is trying to pretend, or she's told her story that she is a cousin of, Lord Penwood or whatever, that she's legitimate, that Alfie would be giving her away, walking her down the aisle.
Can you actually explain to me something here? Make it make sense, please. Why
There's so much that don't make sense.
Why can Emma sponsor what is described by others as a country hillbilly and Sense and Sensibility, but someone like the likes of Lady Danbury could not sponsor Sophie to marry Benedict?
Well, Emma doesn't necessarily sponsor her. Emma believes that she is the child of a lord, who, the way she always says it is, she's the child of a lord and she got left because the belief system is that he died, right? Her parents are dead, and that's why she's at that orphan.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, you were the daughter of a lord, but that's not known. And it's not necessarily known if the parents were married. So the rest, it's Emma being young and naive.
Okay.
She's sponsoring her and trying to force her on society, but society's not really, they're only accepting her because they like Emma. That's why where she tries to elevate her and get her married off to the vicar, Lord Elton, he is like, there's absolutely no way I would ever marry her with her dubious parentage.
Yes.
And so she matures a little and allows her marriage to the farmer because that is a better match. Yes. And she loves him anyway, because she was trying to deny her a love match because she decided she was better than that.
She knew better.
Yeah. So that was a people indulging Emma because everybody indulges Emma, and Emma needed to grow up a little. So it's not actually how society works. It's just Emma. In the country. Okay. Yeah. Because
I saw a lot of people questioning why Lady Danbury could essentially then sponsor, even though she was sponsoring Edwina specifically, she was also sponsoring.
She thought she was sponsoring both.
I think she thought
Kate
she was sponsoring both
who told her,
I'm a spinster, I'm not going to marry, and all of that.
She thought she was sponsoring both, and the reason she could is because Mary was coming back, was part of society, and she technically married a merchant.
Yes.
So merchants were allowed in society because if they had money and land, which they just were running low on it since he passed away, and they couldn't run the business because a man had to run the business, right? So women couldn't hold a job. So as soon as he died, they lost the income and they could only live on what they currently had saved. And that's why they are at the point they're at. So because he was a merchant, and we went through this before when we studied and research, lower merchants, solicitors like Dundas could technically enter society and seek a wife because he is a solicitor who makes good money working for but it's all about, it's still, there's some like the Cowpers would never allow.
Sophie was still raised as nobility as such.
She was raised as a ward, and if Lord Penwood had not died, he would have debuted her on society as his ward.
Yes.
But because he died and Araminta hated her, Araminta made her a maid. If Araminta would have just played that out and allowed her onto society to find a husband, she could have chosen who her husband would be. And it could have been a third son or, a vicar or somebody that she felt was equal to her station as illegitimate. She didn't have to ride out the illegitimacy part. Like, that's just completely because she's a bitch.
Yeah.
She could have done what Lord Penwood wished. She chose not to, and that actually sealed Sophie's fate.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish off. Let's go back to the wedding. Thank you for explaining, because I had the questions, so I was like, if I had the questions, I'm sure there are plenty of others that also have them, and you've seen way more regions than I have, and have a better
and I researched it in our early days. I researched a lot of the dating stuff and marriage stuff, and honestly, Sophie could have been sponsored, as we know from Mansfield Park, a Jane Austen novel. Fanny Bryce her name's Fanny anyway. I can't remember what her last name is. It might be Bryce, but there's a Star is Fanny Price or Bryce. Fanny Price is Mansfield Park. Fanny Bryce is Stars. Okay. So Fanny comes from there's three sisters.
I have to be at school in 7 minutes. Hurry.
So 3 sisters married very different people. One is poor now. She sends her daughter to become a ward of the sister's family, who is a lord and titled. He then debuts her on society when she comes of age. That's basically the thing. You can debut a ward.
My favorite part of the wedding is the fact that Sophie's hair bow was the same as the one that she debuted at, well, not debuted, but sort of debuted as the Lady in Silver. It was the same hair bow.
Masquerade,
and she looked absolutely beautiful. And I'm so sorry that I don't get to talk about your wedding more. It was beautiful. Sincerely, goodbye. I don't have time to do my outro. I am 10 minutes late for leaving. I have to go. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have any tangents you would like to share, please head to the Ladies Bridgerton on Facebook and YouTube. Enjoying the podcast, please click like, subscribe, and follow wherever you are listening to your podcast.
And once again, thank you for listening to the very fast musings of 2 and not so fast, which got us to this point. 2 mad women.
Yours truly, Touch the Very Late Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.
Bye.